Hello and welcome to Skill Builder and a brand new series we're doing called Ask Skill Builder, which has come out the back of our website and our YouTube channel, the comments on our YouTube channel and other social media, where lots of people have started to send in their questions, their DIY questions, their home improvement questions, and we've started to answer some of those, and we thought we'd share some of the solutions with you and also invite you to send in your problems and your issues. So things that you haven't been able to get an answer for elsewhere or just by Googling, we might be able to help with, and if we can't help, we usually know someone that can, so we can put you in touch with industry experts and people that might have solutions. Roger, you've actually got a long history of this kind of problem solving, haven't you?
I worked for London Broadcasting Company, LBC, on their radio station for 15 years doing the fix-it phoning. That went out on a Saturday morning, and over the time, we were never short of problems. We got problems from people who are renting properties, people who bought properties, people who are thinking of buying properties, DIYers, builders, anybody, people who were having work done and wanted a second opinion. You know, the builder had told them something, they just wanted to check whether it was right. So we were able to help them quite a lot, not always. Sometimes we had to, find somebody else, an expert. But we had the contacts to help an awful lot of people over the years, and I'd like to replicate that here.
And it's not necessarily a question of saying to people to try everything themselves. It's not about necessarily DIY, but it's just pointing people in the right direction and how much perhaps they might expect to cost for a problem. And so that they've just they're armed with a bit of a knowledge when they do go to ask a professional for help.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so the great thing, I suppose, today, in contrast to when you were doing it on the radio all those years ago, is that now we've got video and photos that people can easily send in to us, so that can help you to get a real grasp of the problem.
The world has changed, hasn't it?
It has. So the first problem we've got is from Ian from Sutton. Hello, Ian. And he sent across a video because he's got a problem in his wet room with too much water, would you believe?
Oh, there you go, they call it a wet room.
But yeah, water everywhere. It's coming out in places he doesn't want it to be. So let's take a look and see what you think.
Sounds good.
Well, here's a quick video about the weird leak in the shower. There you can see the partial wet room, the seals here, recently been regrouted, and under this shower hose here, it won't show well in the video, but it honestly looks as though water comes up through the floor. I don't understand it. It's not to do with this hose. I've eliminated that. This was regrouted 2 weeks ago with waterproof grout, and it's still happening. You can't really see it until the shower dries out completely. You just think it's residual water. The supply pipes are in plastic behind the tiles here. They go down through the cavity wall. There's no obvious means of access without causing major destruction. I don't know if there's a void in the tanking. I don't even know what the tanking is like. Or maybe there's an old supply pipe under the floor. That's the loo. May have been recited at some previous time. I don't know. There's a bedroom underneath here, and there's no obvious sign of a leak on the ceiling. So short of using a damp meter or a fibre optic camera, neither of which I have, I'm a little bit stuck. So the supply pipes are in plastic. They're all hidden behind here. They feed the basin here too. I don't know the exact pipe runs, but they are all fed by a 3-bar pump, which is in the loft. I'm told it shouldn't be in the loft, but I didn't do that either. The toilet is just fed by gravity, and under here there is a heated floor, which we don't use. So as you may see, my options are a bit limited, short of major destruction. I hope that makes sense.
Okay, so what do you think?
Well, Ian, wet rooms, people call them trouble, but if they're done right, they can be good. And actually, in this case, I think the wet room did you a favour, because the fact that water is coming up through the floor and not down through the ceiling suggests that the tanking on the wet room, which is the waterproof membrane that goes around it along the floor and up the walls, is actually doing a great job.
Okay.
And I don't like to jump to conclusions, because I always like to spend time investigating the problem, having a good look. But from what I see there, I'm willing to bet a fair proportion of my vast fortune on it coming from the shower outlet, where the hose the bit where the hose goes on and it goes into the wall. And the reason I think that is because where the water's coming up is directly below it. And what I think is happening is it's leaking down behind the tiles and it's building up a head of water, and it's got nowhere else to go because of the tanking, so it's pushing its way up through the grout. And as much as he tries to stop it with the grout, it's still coming back up.
Okay.
So I think, good news Ian, I think it's easy to solve.
Do you think that's something he can solve himself? Or?
Well, I think if he's handy, if he does a bit, I think he said he'd done a bit of plumbing there. I'm not sure, but anyway, if you have done a bit, Ian, I think what you've got to do is, it doesn't matter about turning the water off, because if the shower's off, the water isn't coming out the outlet anyway. And just unscrew that outlet off the wall. It's got a square plate on it. That may be silicone to the wall, that may be the only problem, but if you can just unscrew it, you may find it's been done up with PTFE tape on the thread on the inside. Now, PTFE tape is notorious for running off of chrome threads. It's really bad stuff in that respect, because you screw it in and it just winds its way up the thread. So you think the thread is sealed, but it's not. So what you've got to do is take that off, get the junior hacksaw and just scrape across, wipe across the edge of the thread, and that will roughen the thread up slightly, puts little teeth on it. And then wind that PTFE tape back around that thread 10, 15 times even, just get it tightly wound in there so that it doesn't run up, and then screw that back into the wall, and I think your problems will be over. Well,
okay.
Your plumbing problems will be over. You've probably got other problems, but yeah, it may be as simple as that.
Okay, brilliant. Well, Ian, can you let us know how you get on, please? We'd love to hear if this solves your problem, and if not, we'll have round 2 of trying to solve it.
Yeah, come back to us.
Best of luck and keep us posted. So the next question we've got is, it's a water problem again, actually. It's from Doug from Halifax, and he's got really hot water coming out of his kitchen tap, so it's almost scalding, and he doesn't know why. Should we take a look?
Yeah.
Hey Roger, I've got a problem that I'd like some help with. We've just moved, and we've got this lovely Arga here, which is great. It's always on, and the kitchen's nice and warm. The only problem is it supplies the hot water to the taps, the tap in the kitchen and the bathroom directly above, and the water is as hot as a boiled kettle. So you can see the steam coming off here. But when guests come and they're not aware of it, especially if the water stays hot in the tap, and if they turn it on, it can burn their hands, and it's a bit of a problem. And I think it goes via a cylinder upstairs, which I will show you now. So here's the bathroom that is directly above where the Arga is, and here's the cylinder, all the pipe work that goes down to the Arga. And so I don't know whether there's anything that can be changed on this setup, or whether something needs to be added to it to stop that water being boiled kettle hot. Anyway, hopefully you can help us out.
Okay, what do you think?
It does look hot, doesn't it? Yeah. You see the steam coming off it. It's an Arga, and Argas are not the greatest things in terms of controlling hot water, because you can't control them at source. You know, they do their own thing. The oven thermostat is really controlling the whole thing. So you do get hot water from Argas, very hot water from Argas, and they usually put a heat leak radiator tower rail on them somewhere just to take away the excess heat,
right,
if you like. Now, it doesn't say whether it's a solid fuel or a gas one, but it looks like it might be a gas one, and they're better, but you never want to put a valve on it. You want to leave it open so that it just circulates around by gravity. It's not a pump system. And what I would try and do is to regulate that hot water at the point of use rather than at source. You know, normally with a boiler you might just turn it down a little bit on the cylinder or whatever, but what he needs to do there is to fit a thermostatic blending valve on the outlet from the cylinder.
This isn't something you're suggesting he does himself, is it?
Well, possibly not, no. I mean, although it's a fairly simple plumbing job, and there's a diagram in there. It depends what his plumbing expertise is like, but it's a simple job for a professional. I'd get a professional in to do it because it's only going to take them an hour or so to do, and you'll make sure it's right. Because I noticed on his cylinder, he's got a gate valve on the outlet. Now that is a complete horror show, because that gate valve should never be there. You should never put any kind of control on the outlet from a cylinder.
Right.
An unvented cylinder is different, but that's a vented cylinder.
What could go wrong?
It could blow up.
Really?
Yeah, as simple as that. I mean, it has happened. Entire houses have been wiped out by and people killed by cylinders blown up. The whole idea of a cylinder is it's got a vent on it. Any excess heat, hot water goes up over the top of a tank in that sort of hockey stick, and it's safely released. If you put a gate valve on the outlet, you're making it into a pressure cooker, and it's very, very dangerous indeed. You know, we talk about TNT. That's a lot of explosive power in the cylinder. So don't turn that valve off, whatever you do. And when the plumber comes along, the plumber will probably do what I did and went. So they're sorted it out.
Sounds like you need to call a plumber, Doug, but hopefully that sheds some light on the situation. And once again, please keep us posted and let us know that you get this resolved successfully and that Halifax is safe.
Because the whole of Halifax would know about it if that cylinder went up there, for sure.
Okay, it'll be mass evacuation now, hopefully not.
No.
Okay, so we've got one more question for today, and this has actually come in via email from Wendy. Hello, Wendy. You just wrote in to say that you had your hall stairs and landing decorated a couple of years ago at the cost of about £2,000, and it's going yellow already. You wondered if there was anything you could do about it and why this was happening. And I know you're a non-smoker, so you definitely don't think that's the cause. So
No.
what do you think?
A lot of people put it down to nicotine and things like that. In actual fact, it's oil-based paint that's the culprit, and it happens a lot. It happens as soon as you put oil-based paint on. If you open up a tin of oil-based paint that's been sitting around for a while, you've got a yellow film across the top of it. That's the alkyd, that's the oil that's in it, and it's separating out. So you stir it up, you put it on the wall, and then it starts to separate out again. It just does it just slowly, and within a couple of years, you've got this lovely hall that you had done is looking really tired and yellow and horrible. Now, the solution is water-based paint. Water-based paint doesn't have oil in it, so nothing to go yellow. So water-based paint stays white from day one all the way through its life. And it's as simple as that.
Oh, okay. So there's nothing she can particularly do this time other than next time around get someone to use water-based paint?
Yeah, the only trouble is that the professional decorators have got a real down on water-based paint. They just don't like it. They don't like it because it's new, because they don't like the way it goes on. They think that you get brush marks. In actual fact, if you know what you're doing with water-based paint, if you adapt to it, you'll find that it's not that bad to put on. You just dip your brush in a bit of water and it glides on, and then you don't touch it. You know, it's not like oil-based paint where you lay it off and you go back over it and you take the runs out. With water-based paint, you put it on and then leave it, and you'll notice it'll just smooth out. I use a mini roller on it rather than the brush, but you can get a great, the new water-based paints are superb, and there's no reason why professional decorators shouldn't embrace them and start using them, but they don't. They'll always try and talk you out of it. Go, oh, I prefer oil-based, but oil-based paints will go yellow. I'll just give you a little example. If you've got a pot on a windowsill, for example, the window ledge inside is painted with oil-based paint. You take the pot away, you'll notice a yellow ring. Yeah? Seen that?
Yeah.
So you think, what's that all about? You try and scrub it off, it doesn't come off. Now, if you leave that pot away and just leave it, after a couple of weeks, the yellow ring disappears. In fact, after a few days sometimes, if it's a sunny aspect, because the ultraviolet light goes to work on that alkyd and puts it back in solution. It's quite incredible, really. Oil-based paints outside, fine, because the ultraviolet light is acting on them and they don't go yellow. Inside, where you don't have any ultraviolet light, that's when they start separating out and going yellow. So the key to it, if you like, is ultraviolet light, but obviously you can't get sunshine into your hall, Wendy, so the next time you have it done, use water-based paint. Water-based paints will go over the top of oil-based paint, so it's
well, that's something,
not the end of the world. But let's hear it for water-based paints, because they're better for the environment, they're better for the people putting them on. You can wash the brushes out in water, and altogether a much nicer product to use.
Okay, and if you're a painter decorator who does use water-based paint, help us spread the word. Let us know, give us your feedback, and perhaps other painters and decorators are more likely to listen to you and
that's right,
start
right
a revolution.
Me, for sure. Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, I'm a bit of an evangelist, as you can tell for it, but it's only because I've seen such a lot of resistance to it over the years. I thought, come on, move with the times, guys.
Yeah, sure.
It's killing you. Well, it's not killing you, but it's not. Solvents don't do you any good.
There's a better alternative, isn't there?
There is, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, keep us posted, Wendy, and thanks for getting in touch. So that's it from us for today. That's all from our Skill Builder. Keep your questions coming in. I know that next time we're going to be covering damp.
Yeah, there's a lot of it about.
Yeah, big topic this time of year. 'Tis the season. So if you've got any specific damp questions, please do get in touch. Send us a video. Try and send them landscape rather than portrait, because it just works a little bit better. Or if you can't send us a video, send us some pictures. But we'll absolutely do our best to help. And if we can't help, we'll try and put you in touch with someone that can. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.